So coming back to electrostatics in detail, as I told you, this electrostatics is mainly because of this Coulomb's law. Coulomb's law. So in this Coulomb's law, I told you that there will be two charges separated by a distance d, and these charges are can name it as q1 and q2, and due to which there is a force of attraction or force of repulsion, some force is created that can be given as q1 q2 divided by 4 pi epsilon naught into 1 by d square. So this is what I told you as the equation for the Coulomb's law of equation. So what happens when you how this force is what I here shown is as a scalar quantity, but actually the force supposed to be a vector quantity. So in this you should understand that is there are some quantities which in the electrostatics they are scalar and some are vector. So what is the difference between a scalar and a vector? A scalar quantity will have only the magnitude, which does not describe its location or the path of movement of force or something. They don't take about. And the vector is nothing but it has both magnitude and direction plus the direction. So for example, if I say that I am moving, a person here moves from about 40 meters east and again 20 meters south. If I say, I mean both the magnitude and its direction. So here the displacement, what I mean here is displacement is a vector quantity. But if I just say there is an object which or so suppose if I say the temperature of an object is about 20 degrees Celsius, we does not mean at what position or something. So if I say only magnitude is going to be a scalar, and if I going to say it's a both the magnitude and direction going to be a vector quantity. So in electrostatics we should be very much clear that how we talk about the vector quantity. So in case if the force is also kind of a vector quantity, because their direction is also a main important concept in here. So if I say the force as an force vector, I put it a vector symbol here, then I have to multiply it with an vector, any unit vector. I have to multiply with a unit vector which is d, which is in reference to when unit vector is because of this distance d which I mentioned as d, I will be representing it as d vector. And d vector, what is this d vector? How will you get this d vector? Is nothing but this d vector can be explained. For example, if I take a 3 axis here, x y z axis, x, and this is z, and this is y axis, x y z axis, and if I say the point of this object is somewhere here, so it is moving somewhere here, so it's from its origin, if the point like the charge, if the charge q is somewhere here, from the origin the radius will be somewhere here. So with respect to this reference, if I take the distance, for example, if the distance is here, so the value of this distance, if I take it as d, and this magnitude of this divided by its unit value of this d will give you the d vector. Magnitude of this divided by its unit vector will be given as divided by its unit value will give you the d vector. So this d vector can be used in here, so that it can be used as a vector quantity. The force can be vector quantity. In general, if you take any atom, so you know what is an atom is. An atom will have protons, neutrons and electrons contained in it. So if this is an atom where you have some protons, which I am showing it here like this, and some neutrons, protons and electrons here inside, and you have the electrons which will be revolving outside. So okay, so you will have some electrons revolving here. So these are the electrons, I'm drawing it here. So the total number of electrons and protons should be equal. So here I say you have almost electrons is almost 6, and protons is also 6, so you'll have equal number of protons, only then it is neutralized. Okay, so this you can understand, you know it already. And here the charges in this atom, now there are 3 kinds of charges on here. So one is this neutral charge, neutral charges. The second one is the positive charges, and the third one is the negative charges. There are three types of charges, where the neutral charges, we don't have any neutral charges, so we'll say q value is q of neutral is equal to 0. There is no, actually there is means that there is no neutral charges, that is q is 0. And q of n value, the value of the q of value of positive qn qp will be given as plus, which is positive, so plus 1.6 into 10 to the power of 9 and 19 coulomb. And for the negative qn, it will be given as minus 1.6 into 10 to the power of minus 19 coulomb. So this is how the value of the charges will be given in an atom. So neutral charges, positive charges, and then negative charges are the three important charges which is present over here. In case of a conductor, what you have is you have extra free electrons, so that in the orbit you have some valence electron, extra free electrons, and those electrons are ready to move to occupy into the whole regions where we don't have any charges, so it will get attracted to it. But in this case you don't have any free electrons, so there will not be any movement. Okay, the next one is all about is coordinate system. Okay, coordinate system. Coordinate system. So in coordinate system is very required to find the position of any object. So coordinate system in electrostatics is very important, because in true coordinate system you will be able to locate an object, or even in this case it is a charge in a space. Charge in a space. For example, if I say there is a charge q, this is a charge q, it's in a space. Maybe I take it as I'll mean it as this is a space, charge q is in the space. I'm asking you where is the charge in this space, where is the location, how do you locate it, how do you point this charge here? So immediately you need some reference, point, so that this charge can be easily located. For example, I'll draw a axis for reference. So this axis, you know it, this is x, and this is y, and this is z. And now when you have an axis of reference and you have an origin here 0, from with respect to this origin you can now calculate the distance of the q from x. So this will give you the value of x, and this will give you from y the value of q from y, and another value from z, which gives you so it is in detail, or in as a definition for the coordinate system, it is nothing but it is a intersection of three coordinates. That is the intersection of three axis lines which is drawn perpendicularly. So the point where it intersects will give you the actual location of the point. It is an intersection of 3 points. So as a definition, we say it's a way of representing the location of any position in a space with reference to an origin. I'll write it here. The way of representing the location of any position in space with reference to an origin. So because we need an origin, only then we can locate it, because it is the starting point of thing. So in this system, coordinate system, we have three types of coordinate system. So three types of coordinate system. The first one is rectangular. The rectangular coordinate system, or you call it as a Cartesian system. Then B is cylindrical coordinate system. Then the last one is spherical coordinate system, right? So these are the three important coordinate system. Now we will see in the next lecture how the rectangular and the cylindrical coordinate system and the spherical coordinate system can be represented in brief, and we'll see the relationship between these three coordinate system.